Welcome back everyone to another video by me, Max and my Y. Today we are going to be looking at the Minotauro. And please stick around, or at least skip to the video part, because this battle is absolute insanity. But for now, let's begin with the equipment and what I run on the Minotauro. Let's take a look. So first of all, with consumables, pretty simple. I use the speed boost and 2 repair kits as you don't have adrenaline. For provisions, I run double food and improved fuel because with double repair kit, you probably most of the time don't need protective kit. It's just not worth it unless you're running something that you're running double consumable on. With ammunition, everything's pretty standard. And with equipment, here's where the long part of the video comes in. First of all, while you have improved ventilation with auto-reloading or clipping tanks, and it brings up a lot of your statistics, and sometimes I would recommend running, especially if you have a tank destroyer, for example, because it usually has a lot of penetration. With the Minotauro, I still think that you should aim for above 350 millimeters of heat pen, which is why I am running calibrated shells. It also helps that AP is about 300, so that is a huge help on something like the Mino, where you don't have the most accurate gun, so you're trying to have more penetration. You want enhanced gun laying drive because honestly, you shouldn't really be you should not be sniping in the Minotauro. That is why supercharger is not very effective. Instead, you want your gun to aim in quicker, especially since you have a cyclic gun and you want to aim in before firing your next shell. And the third thing I would like to run is refined. Now, on clipping tanks, a lot of people would say that I should instead run vertical stabilizer. However, what you'll notice with the Mino is sometimes you will be pre-aiming, and a lot of the time you will be pre-aiming, since while your enemies fire 1 shell, you can fire 2 shells. And that means that you'll fire 1, your enemy will fire 1, and then your enemy will back off. But you will have that second shell, which means that you will have that time to fully aim in. And that is why I would actually recommend refined gun, because when you will need accuracy, you will want refined gun, and in the Mino, very often you will find that you want accuracy. So, let's move on to the next column. With Vitality, of course, improved modules. You do not have the speed, you do not have such bad modules that you need defense system. And again, defense system is a lottery. I will almost never ever choose defense system, primarily because defense system is, as I said, a lottery. It's a chance of engine damage, chance of crew entry, chance of ammo rack explosion. I don't care about chances. I want actual usable statistics, and improved modules gives you that, which is why I'm running them. Enhanced armor, again, this is very useful, and this I will be showing in the armor section why enhanced armor is so useful. Of course, hit points could be considered valuable, but on the Mino specifically, enhanced armor makes a much greater difference, and I would much rather recommend that you run enhanced armor instead of hit points. Now you're going to want to run enhanced tracks as usual in pairing them with improved modules with the track durability, and makes the tracks more durable. That now, though they don't provide a statistic, just that it says that is very, very good. And also the fact that your tracks repair fully after they're destroyed. It is also a great boost. I really like this equipment. Now, with the specialization column, let's just quickly go through it. Because you are a frontline tank destroyer, you are going to want improved optics. Because your tank is slow to speed up, you are going to want engine accelerator. However, I will accept improved controls as an alternative. Maybe you want to have a more dynamic play style. However, in general, because you have a traversable turret, you do not need improved control most of the time. Instead, for my playstyle, I just want to get where I want to get faster, because that is the kind of playstyle the Mino has. It is get into a position and then hold it, and that is what it excels at. And finally, consumable delivery system, because really there's no benefit to having speed boost on for longer, and you'd just rather have it faster, have it back faster so you could use it more often within the game. With the equipment section out of the way, let's get into the armor profile. Okie dokie. So one of the key things about the Minotauro is, yeah, it's pretty red from the front. However, there are a few very, 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 very important nuances with the Minotauro's armor profile. Let's take a look at some of them. First of all, we're aiming in with an SPHT, simply because it's a good example of your average penetration or a little bit on the high end. So let's just quickly take a look. So with AP, you are pretty red. You can be penetrated in these small little corners. So even if you're poking out like this, you should be wary of getting penetrated in this kind of spot, since you have a boat-ish, as you can see, round-ish hull, which means that you're never really going to be angling all of the plates that you can. The next little important bit is, yes, you can be penetrated right here, just as a general rule if you are side scraping. Likewise, you can be penetrated through the track wheel at this angle. So if you are facing a Minotauro that is doing this, shoot at the track wheel, not over here if they are poking it. If they're poking out somewhat like this, for example, you can still just shoot it in the track wheel. As long as you see the track wheel, you can more or less penetrate it with AP. But let's take a look at what happens when you stop shooting AP. Let's say that you were going to shoot Hesh. Heat. With heat, you can see a core weakness of the Minotauro, and that is this entire surface around the gun. Now, that shows as blocked, but as you can see, it's a slightly grayer shade of red. And if you are facing a Minotauro, loading heat, you can shoot at and around its gun, and you should be able to pen most of the time. Naturally, your lower plate is also going to become penetrable if you load heat, or if your enemy loads heat. However, the Minotauro has a perfect counter to this, and this is mostly thanks to the recent armor changes. Oh yeah, using a relatively simple, using even 4 degrees of gun depression, yeah, even using 5 degrees of gun depression, you make your turret basically impenetrable. Of course, if we use calibrated shells, you still have that same problem, but again, you just angle a little bit harder. So the key thing with the Minotauro is you have armor, but you have to keep in mind that unless you're using a pretty steep gun depression angle, you can be penetrated from the front around your gun. Now, of course, wiggling from side to side makes it a little bit harder to aim in, and the sides are decent, but I really wouldn't count on them working because it's just unreliable. As I said, this spot especially, and loading AP, being able to penetrate the track wheel, you don't really want to try side scraping in this tank. You very much want to poke out with your front, trying to not show that track wheel spot, and hoping that your enemy hits something like this and ends up being blocked by your track wheels. With the armor of the Minotauro out of the way, let's get into this replay. And we begin the possibly most insane battle I have ever had in my life. Now, based on the thumbnail, you probably wouldn't be able to say that. However, if you look at this game and listen to what I say, you are going to understand just how crazy this game actually was. So, in the beginning, usually you would want to go to base B. However, seeing that both my 260 and my mouse are heading to heavy flank, I decide, you know what, I'm going to try to go and help them out there. I'm sorry, my mediums, but I think that this is better for damage farming and staying alive longer till the end of the game. That was what was going through my head, as I was only 0.3 away from getting the third mark on this tank. However, seeing that Caro 45 ton, I decide to go to mid and see if I can spot anything there. Not having spotted anything, I decide, well, okay, I'm going to move up and I'm going to try to flank. I'm already thinking that we've lost everything. And then I see that little arrow mark and notice the Progetto. And then I miss the Progetto after he pens me. Okay, not a good start, but it's okay. I reload my shell. I poke out of the corner. I think, okay, he has to be the... Oh, no. 183. Thankfully, he bounces me. And I get one shell out, but my second shell doesn't hit the 183. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, fine, all good. I'm up to basically 500 damage. Everything should be fine. I should be able to clear this 1/8. Oh no! What was that? Okay, so I'm down half my health, and then the Progetto comes out and hits me again, leaving me with a less than half of my hit points. And that is absolutely insane. I mean, how am I supposed to play this game with less than half my hit points? I'm chasing this Progetto. I know that the tank destroyers are there. By some miracle, I hit this 183, and then the gorilla, it doesn't shoot me. And of course, I don't hit the shell, so I lose DPM, and I'm looking behind me, and I see the Caro, and all of this is going through my head, and I'm thinking, oh my god, what the hell? Thankfully, this Progetto over-aggresses. I wait for my reload, and that is also very, very, very important. You do not want to shoot that last shell unless you are certain you can reload the entirety of the clip. But fine. Okay, so we clear the Progetto. I then see the girl running. That means that I only have the 183. I can see tanks coming up behind me. I'm thinking, okay, I just have to clear this 183. I see him. I aim in. I hit him. He's gone, but now I'm thinking, okay, what do? I see the gorilla is there. I know that I can poke this little bush and it should be fine. I am happy that the XM is dead, and I spot the concept. I think it's safe. Oh, I get hit by the Super Conqueror. He damages my armor. I see the gorilla. I angle my turret and I bounce it, and oh my god, my game could have been over right there. That bounce with the gorilla was insanely lucky, and that one bounce determined basically the outcome of this entire battle. But okay, I have a mouse behind me and a gorilla 15. Now, again, toxicity, please don't. The game has enough toxic people. Just don't engage in it. Just turn off your chat. But I know that a concept 1B was going to be approaching based on how he was moving in the beginning. I am able to get my 2 shots out, and now I wait. I know that he's going to be focusing the mouse, or that they won't be able to easily get past this roadblock made of dead bodies. I aim in, and I'm able to slam a shell into the Super Conqueror. Of course, it low rolls by about 100 damage, but that's fine. That's fine. And I am up to 2,800, and I've assisted with 1,400 damage, and I've blocked 2,000 damage. But I'm waiting for my reload. Now, the most important thing is that the Super Conqueror has enough penetration to kill me, and I am really afraid of him. But I am not afraid of the gorilla, because I have the mouse, and I decide to clear him. But also, I'm not afraid of the concept 1B. And I'm not afraid of the concept because the concept's penetration is really, really bad. Of course, unfortunate that I missed that shell. But because the concept's heat penetration is bad, I know that my armor can stand up against him, as well as his lower alpha. So I know that if the Super Conqueror can one-shot me, I know that for sure the concept can't. So my only real threat is that Super Conqueror, and he just bounced me. So now I have to reload a shell and see where this is going. Now, if they were able to hold back and wait us out, maybe they could have even won on base cap. But instead of doing that, they keep pushing, especially this concept 1B. I noticed that the gorilla moved out, so I get a shot in on the concept 1B. I'm able to then clear him. The Super Conqueror shoots the mouse misses. The Super Conqueror is able to clear the mouse. That was a little bit of my fault because I'm trying to push in up to him. And then just before the gorilla shoots, I'm able to hit him in the lower plate, get 4 kills, assistance, 4,000 damage. This game went from absolute loss and luckless everything to one of the best clutches I have ever had in this game. And it also gives me my 3rd mark on the Minotauro. I couldn't ask for a better game, and I couldn't ask for a better game to showcase what makes the Minotauro just so damn good. Thank you very much for watching my video. See you next time. Bye-bye.